My advice would be, don't be scared of trends though, in that sometimes people go, oh, I don't want to bring that finish or that shape or texture into my home because it is on trend. But if it's something that you've always loved, or it's a new love for you, but it just resonates with your core and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the finish I've always been after, or this is the shape tile I've always been after, just because it's on trend doesn't matter. Because if it resonates with you down to your core, you will love it beyond the lifetime of that trend, and you will be happy with it for years and years to come.
G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of the Build Insight podcast. This is part 2 of our chat with Joanne from Broadfeather Design, discussing the insights into interior design. If you missed part 1, make sure you head back to last week's episode and listen to our first part of the discussion with Joanne. Otherwise, enjoy the episode.
I want my home to be a reflection of me, which is how I think it always should have been. And in a way, I think a lot of that, we don't have many things to thank COVID for, but I think everybody being stuck in their homes for so long made people go, stuff this, I'm not designing this house for the resale, always thinking of the resale or my friends, or I actually want this to be a reflection of me. And I think that's now coming out with people being willing to mix things together.
Fantastic answer.
That is so true and accurate. I've noticed that across the board with a lot of things, that whole, I've got to think about it if I sell this place, and you ask a client, well, when are you going to sell it? Oh, we might not.
Yeah.
So why are you thinking about maybe selling it? Do you have a bath? No, I never take a bath. It's like, well, why do you want one?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
like enjoy the house that you're in when you're living in it.
Yeah.
So, no one knows what's coming. It's so true in that I think when we finish in a house, we don't look back and we go, oh, I'm so glad that I made that neutral and made it so easy to sell. I mean, there's nothing wrong with neutral.
Yeah.
Lots of people love neutral. And it's about loving, no matter whether it's color, pattern, neutral, that I felt comfortable in my space for the time that I spent there. And then I can gift that house that gave me those wonderful feelings of well-being to the next person who's going to purchase that. Because if it resonates with me as a homeowner, there will be somebody else that it also resonates with on a resale value.
Exactly. Joanne, can you walk us through maybe a little bit of a behind the scenes look at what it might look like from a design, from commencement through to completion on a project that you'd be involved with?
It is a very complex and long procedure. Just recently, actually, for the first time ever, I dot pointed out as we implemented a new project management system at work, every step that we do. And I got to the bottom of the list. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of steps.
At least it's on paper and not in your head.
It is on paper now, exactly. The hit by the bus principle. It's okay. I think what we do is that relieves anxiety from people because we know what all those steps are. And yes, I've listed them out now, but that's because we do them naturally as well. People walk in our door, they are very overwhelmed by the fear of the unknown. I don't know how many questions I've got to ask, what things that I need to ask. So our process is to bring calm from the start. It's that we start our process always with a get to know you session. We have a coffee with our clients and we ask them to tell us about them, because we can make their space reflect them, but we can only do that if we understand them. And it's them, who's living there, whether there's children, pets, another generation living with them, how they live in the home, all of that. So we start off with kind of a get to know you session. It's like a speed dating profile, really. And then we encourage them that the best, as we've said, the best outcomes come with trusting your designer. And so we encourage them to trust us, but we also encourage them to push back on us if they feel like something that we are presenting to them as a concept really doesn't resonate, because it takes a while to get to know somebody. So we're constantly learning.
To jump in, so you're getting that coffee underway, you're getting that relationship built up, and you're trying to learn about the client and their personality and how
their likes, their dislikes, their needs, so that then when it comes to the actual pure design part of it, that we're meeting their needs. Because someone will say, I want this, but unless we understand the need that's driving that want, then we're not going to hit the nail on the head when it comes to the finished product. So get to know you session. And then we basically walk through their home from exterior to interior, getting more and more detailed as we go. And that's over a series of meetings, depending on how big the project is. But we start with exterior materials and finishes, which is a bit of a misnomer when we're called interior designers, that we start with the exterior. It's a bit weird, but we strongly believe in our company that the two are really linked. And so, yes, we get a lot of plans come from architects and building designers with those finishes already nominated, but we still go through them with the client to make sure that they understand everything that's happening there. And if anything needs to be tweaked to resonate with what's happening on their interior. So start with exterior, tick off all of that, and then we step into the interior. And we always start with the big picture first of flooring and tiles, because everything else sort of sits on top of that. So we go and attend their tile selections with them and guide them through taking the pressure out of walking into this big showroom with a zillion tiles and knowing which ones are actually the best ones for me. It's like a kid in a candy store. We guide. Same with flooring, guiding them with what timber flooring, if they're having that, and carpets sit alongside those tiles well. And then it's all of the doors, door hardware, joinery, all of that. The joinery is a very complicated beast. We do a lot of joinery design with our clients where it's not just picking the colors of the bench tops and the doors and things. It's figuring out exactly where they need things for their cooking style, for how they get ready in the ensuite, whether one person gets ready at the same time as the other, or whether it's always just a single user in there. We have conversations with our clients about how much underwear they have, and therefore how wide should their socks and undies drawer be. We have conversations with them that they don't even have with their closest friends. But we do that so that we can truly understand them. And so that's walking through in various meetings the joinery design, where it goes through from concept, then multiple revisions to get to a point where it aesthetically and functionally meets the client's needs. And then at the end, once all the materials and finishes are selected and the joinery design is all complete, we have what we call a handover meeting with our clients, where we go through all of that documentation line by line with the client, make sure that the client truly understands everything and understands that the documentation that we provide is written very much in a language that's not common English. It is written for the construction industry. It's written so that you as a builder and your trades can interpret it. So there might be things in there they don't understand. We literally had a client this morning say, overnight I Googled what a soffit was because I had no idea. Whereas it's just a second nature part of our language. So we walk them through and make sure that they actually understand what is being then passed on to the builder and the trades. And then that goes to the builder for pricing. And then if things need to be tweaked at all, then we do that. And then right through the construction phase, we are there as well for support with questions on site, for things getting discontinued and anything that crops up. We're there to hold their hand so that no matter what's had to change during the process, that the design intent and the outcome at the end are what they envisaged from the outset.
Yeah, and it's such a handy tool. You've heard all that, and that's generally what a lot of builders just aren't getting their hands on. And it's not understood, but it's there to actually make a seamless building process. Just magic, really.
I've got a really open-ended question for you.
Ooh,
I know
like it.
we touched on this quickly before we started recording. So color in interior design, color can really set a mood. It can set feelings. Do you have any tips on how people should use colors, or how would they go about navigating that process on selecting the right colors for the way that they're going to live in their home?
Absolutely. It is very much a how long's a piece of string, opening a can of worms question. Absolutely. But our motto at work is be bold, be brave. It is about, that doesn't mean you have to do full color. It's just about being brave enough to embrace who you are and expressing that.
That is really cool. That's plastered on your back wall.
It is
isn't
plastered on our back wall in massive signage. And no, it doesn't have to be color, but color impacts different people in different ways. For example, the color red. Some people look at that and find it exciting, invigorating, empowering. Other people look at it and find it very aggressive. And there's no real hard and fast answer of going, use red in this application, use blue in this application, because there's a whole psychology around color. And different people respond to colors in different ways. And not just the color, but the placement of that color. And so there are some things that you could say, if you want a room to feel more intimate, there's tools that we can use sometimes by painting the wall and ceiling all in the same deeper color and making it come in and feel a bit cozier. But sometimes that's not the right solution, depending on the shape of the room, where it's orientated in the house, what furnishings are going in there, all of that sort of things. Unfortunately, there's no sort of one size fits all response.
Yep. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just what feels right for you. Yeah, that would be a very tricky one to navigate. Does it go hand in hand with textures as well, not just colors? Like different textures can create that feeling as well?
Absolutely. Texture is an amazing transformer in that, and it's especially crucial in neutral or monochromatic schemes where, even if someone was using all green tones through, if something is all the same texture, it can just feel a bit lifeless. Whereas all of a sudden, if you introduce something that's got a little bit of texture to it, and then something that's got a bit of softness, and then this has got a little bit of sheen, and this is a slightly different shape, it's not a mishmash, and being very careful with what we mix together. But that texture is what resonates well with us as humans, in that when we look out a window, when you go out into nature, everything has different textures. And so I think we feel comfortable in spaces in our homes when we have variation in texture as well.
There's a really key word in the industry for some time now, sustainability. Now, it's big to us. We're from our building company side of things. We've really honed in on making sure that we're running sustainable businesses. We're worrying about what we're doing with our material and being less wasteful. When it comes to your design ethos and involvement with projects, what are some of the things that you're doing with sustainability in mind?
I think it's probably twofold, in that one comes down to material usage, in that if we are specifying, say, a open shelf for a kitchen that we really want to use 25 mil shelving in, and it might just be one small shelf in that kitchen. Yes, we can design it in there and we can just go tick, that looks pretty, done. But I think as sustainably focused designers, myself and my team then go, where can we use the rest of that sheet in that project? So that the cabinet maker isn't just going, I've got this left over, I'm not going to use this and chuck it, that we're using as much of that sheet as we can. So we have that philosophy to as many materials as we can through a home when we're specifying it. And then circling back a little bit to the trend question of, that's where I think there's not the place for fast trends, is in the more permanent aspects of the home. My philosophy is that we build sustainable homes from an interior design point of view when we build spaces that people are going to enjoy being in for a long time. So that means using an appropriate level of quality of things so that it lasts, but it means building things into tiles and joinery and those things that are more permanent and long lasting, that are things that really resonate with the core of the person, and they've always loved that color tone or mixture of finishes. And then if people really want to adopt a fast trend, my philosophy is that if you can't take that fast trend item to an op shop for somebody else to love and repurpose, then it shouldn't be a trend in your home. So you could have a vase that is the on-trend color, and you can decide in 12 months' time, no, I want to adopt a new trend. But you can take that vase to the op shop, somebody else can buy it and love it. It's not wasteful. But if you put an on-trend color tile in, and then in 12 months' time you go, I don't like this anymore, I want to change it, you can do it if you can afford it, but there's a lot of waste that goes with that.
Yep. Yeah, and that's a big one with discussions we're having, is how you're using a room now versus what's the family dynamics in 10 years and how is that room going to be used. So
we actually find that a lot of people, one of the things that we stop people doing is actually building in custom joinery around small children, because we have a lot of clients that come with preschool age or very young children that I need to have this cabinetry built this way for my 2-year-old. And we do ask the hard questions. We push back and go, when's the house going to be finished? In about a year. Okay, so they'll be 3. Okay, but then let's fast forward. Even in that time, their needs will change and then they'll change again and again. Sometimes it's about not building in those permanent things. It's about having loose furniture for those aspects,
Yeah.
for those really fast changing times of family life and dynamic. So that then when you're finished with those pieces, you can put them on Gumtree and somebody else can love them rather than you ripping out a beautiful custom piece and that nobody can use again.
So true.
We're finding as builders, Joanne, that there's a lot of clients that are approaching us now that they're educating themselves a lot more. They're wanting more energy efficient, more comfortable, more
Mm-hmm.
sustainable
Mm-hmm.
homes. Are you finding that clients are asking for more environmentally friendly materials?
Absolutely. We've even had clients with allergies to certain products that we've had to be really specific with the types of kitchen cabinetry finishes that we're using because they're allergic to some of the glues that are used in traditional cabinet making. Allergies, absolutely. Sustainability and environmental concerns, 100%.
Yep.
It's something that people are much, much more aware of, and they're coming to us and asking those questions. And so it even comes down to sometimes, again, as an interior designer, we have questions come from clients sometimes about the windows and the glazing on that and the different tints that come with that and energy rating versus aesthetics. And they are trying to find that balance and therefore the impact on the light quality in the home, but also then down to more the decoration side of it, of clients are becoming more aware that things like curtains and window treatments
Mhm.
have a big impact on driving your home and being able to, on a 40-degree day, close the curtains and blinds before you leave for work so that your house stays cooler as well.
Yep.
So that when you come home, you don't need to run your air conditioner or you don't need to run it for as long. And so it's planning for those things from the outset because houses are getting bigger, yes, and panels of glass are getting bigger in that we find so often now that there's big, big windows and not much wall either side to put curtains. So it does get trickier, but it's definitely something that people ask about and that we help them through that process.
I need to jump in here for a minute, guys, to thank our sponsors, Backman Builders and Calorie Building. Without the support of these businesses, the Build Insight podcast wouldn't be possible. Take a moment to go and show some support for them so they can continue to support us, bringing you the Build Insight podcast. I think a really important one you touched on as well is the healthy materials. You got people that have got allergy concerns. There's a lot of fancy materials and fancy finishes, the off-gassing, the chemicals that come out of these products that are making people quite unhealthy. So there's a big focus on that as well. There's some incredible people in the industry like Zara Dakota that are putting out healthy home courses like that for people to educate themselves a lot more. So
Things that you would be aware of, we can pick a paint color, yes. And if we have the freedom to specify the type of paint as well, then we will be looking at your low VOC paints rather than your more traditional paints so that you shouldn't walk into your house and go, oh, this smells delightfully
Yeah.
chemically. You shouldn't smell that. And those smells are the fact that there's chemicals that have been used. And so, yes, I think wherever we can, trying to use things that are better for us in the long term for the clients and for the people that come after, because some of those statistics of how long things off gas for is
Yeah.
astronomical. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy. If people knew more about that, there's products on the market we wouldn't have. But it's a good segue into the future of especially interior design topic. Obviously, there's been a lot of changes with certain things where with the forestation of our hardwoods, silica removal from our stone. Yeah, I know going through that with my life with interior design, like the amount of conversations we're talking about this morning, Luke, the amount of conversations we had with stone companies last year to find out to pass that on to clients. So where do you see the short-term and the long-term future with your role and working through materials in the industry?
And
Changes as well,
happen with
yeah.
silica. I actually think that as much as it was a very hard process for the industry in wiping out crystalline silica from the Australian market for new products moving forward, I think one thing that it taught a lot of us as designers, but also builders and trades in the industry, is that it was, quote unquote, the asbestosis of our time now. And it was a massive, massive industry shift when they wiped asbestos out of being a product that you could use. This crystalline silica was a new version of. I think what it's taught us as an industry is that what seemed very scary and like it would be a massive overhaul that we couldn't get over, a hurdle, we've all gotten past it.
Mm.
We've all had to learn new things and be aware of new products and how to use them. But I think it's taught us that as science and technology catches up and we become aware of more things and what should and shouldn't be used in the future, that we can adapt and it's okay. We're all still here. And it's not that man-made bench tops don't exist. They still exist, just in a different format. So it's taught us adaptability, but I think in a wonderful way, it has brought a lot of people back to natural materials as
Yeah.
well and using those in the right applications as well.
I'm definitely excited about more natural materials, and we're working closely with a cabinet maker I'll give his business a plug, Pure Grain, and he's working with timbers. So wherever possible, we're integrating raw timber into the design, whether it's recycled from that job and it gets the clients thinking a little bit more that might not have stopped and thought before. We had a lot of conversations with clients saying, oh, if I've got these silica one client in particular finished house and they said, oh, we've got these bench tops. No, it's okay.
It's okay.
the
Once
work.
they're in, it's okay.
You haven't worked with it and
Yeah.
so forth.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's still more products out there that I can see in the years to come that are going to be out of the way and into some cleaner, healthier products.
Absolutely.
I think we're just starting to get to that part of the
There's a
pointy
lot
end of it.
glues and resins and things out there that I think that as time goes on, that we'll look back in 30 years' time and go, I can't believe they used those products, and sound really old.
Yeah, chipboard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's on a budget, Joanne. So obviously not everyone has extensive buckets of money. Have you got any tips or tricks or things that people should prioritize on? Any advice for people that are wanting to refresh or redesign their spaces on a tight budget?
Yep. First of all, I'll probably say that when people go, I don't have a budget to do what I want, that's where there comes great skill in interior design. People can come to us with a bunch of ideas and it is about meeting their budget. And we're very good at being creative in finding solutions that look a heck of a lot more expensive than they are. I think a good designer is respectful of people's budgets, because no matter how high someone's income is, everyone has a tipping point. Everyone has a space in their home that is their priority that they want to spend more money on. And so I don't have a ticker box of always spend in your kitchen or whatever. There's the general rule of the places where you spend the most time and get the most relaxation out of. Yes, you want to invest in those, and you want to invest in things, putting money into good mechanisms. Anything that moves, you want better quality.
Yep.
Because if something is having to move several times a day, that's when the cheaper products don't really work, and that circles back to sustainability as well. But we can work to anyone's budget, and that's where paying a designer can help, even though it might seem like I'm outlaying a fee and I don't have money for that fee. You will save more in the long run by paying that fee and then making smarter decisions and using those materials in a smarter way and finding ways to create beautiful outcomes economically than if you just run with it yourself. And just because you're engaging a designer doesn't mean it has to be a massive project. We actually have clients that come to us. We probably have a couple of months that ring up and say, look, we've done a whole house of selections ourselves. We've done our tiles, we've done our cabinetry, we've got everything, but we're really just not confident. Can we come in, bring everything in, and just pick someone's brain for a
Just
couple
do
of
a
hours
review.
and do a review? And we're like, yeah, that's fine. And we don't do all of the fancy documentation and everything for that. It is just a bit of a hand-holding process of, most of that's okay, but have you thought about doing this instead? And no, it's not the full service, but it's enough for some people to just give them that little insurance policy that it's all going to go together. They don't need the full service. They just need that little handhold.
Yeah, that's amazing. Do you have any specific favorite parts of your job? And it probably might highlight some stories or favorite stories or clients you've worked with.
Oh, I think my favorite part of the job, and it might sound cliche, but we do talk at work quite a bit about how no 2 days are ever the same. And we love that in that, because each of our clients is unique, no project is the same. No 2 days, therefore, are ever the same. And the thing that I probably like the most is finding those little gold nuggets that make that client tick. And when you have that moment, they're like, oh my gosh, I love that. For example, back at work at the moment, 2 of my design team are doing a handover meeting with a client who they put together. Part of it was a kitchen design in a mid-century home. And the client came and said, oh, I bet you're just going to tell me that I need white and timber and we've got terrazzo floor, but we're going to just need white and timber kitchen. And my 2 designers took a deep brief from her. And then what they presented back was this kitchen that had some beautiful bottle green, some clay tones in there as well. And this client walked in and was like, oh my gosh, that is not at all what I thought I would see on the bench when I walked in. Love it. And then she went home and showed her husband and he loved it as well. And so it's about that understanding. I think biggest joy is when we feel like we understand the client and we can show them something that they had never even considered. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's like you've just understood me. And that is amazing. It's not about the aesthetic of the final product. Yes, we love seeing the final product. Yes, we love seeing our work come together and going, oh, we participate in that. I can't pretend that never gets old. But it's that we ticked that psychological, emotional well-being box of that client, that we understood you as a person. And so another client example would be, I had 2 clients that husband and wife were both vets. The wife is, I really want a cat mural in one of my bathrooms. I'm like, wow. Okay, no 2 days are ever the same. Decided not to do it in one of the main bathrooms in the house, but they had a beautiful pool outside and a pool bathroom. And so like, let's have a bit of fun in there. So when people walk in there, there's literally a mosaic on the wall, the little Bazazza tiles that most of it is white. And in the shower, there is a black cat that we specifically worked with the company to figure out the mosaic pattern, to how it had to be constructed on the sheets. And then on the vanity bench top, there is a cat leaping also above the bench top in tiles. It is fun sometimes having those little things that come along that are not at all what you expect.
Yeah, it's definitely not a sausage dog. Maybe that you guys were talking
I
about
would
there.
definitely do a sausage dog.
Might have to be next one up.
All right, we're going to change things up a little bit. This is a new one we're going to do. We're going to do a bit of a rapid fire round. So we've got 4 questions.
Okay.
Short answers, not major detail, but we're going to pump through these quickly. So first one, favorite color palette to work with?
Personally or professionally?
Oh,
Rapid fire back at you.
both.
Personally, it links back to my branding colors of those teals and turquoises. I love those sort of blue-green tones. Professionally, at the moment, I'm loving that what's coming back in is those really warm russets, red wines, mahoganies, clays, all of those real warm, cuddly colors. I love that they're being welcomed back into the design world.
Yep.
What's a design trend you're tired of?
Ooh.
No judgment.
No, just subway tiles laid normally, like when I say normally, in a standard brick bond classic subway, in that I've done it for so many years and there's so many million other ways that you can lay a economical subway tile.
So put some cats in there or something.
Correct. It fixes everything.
One item every room should have.
Somewhere to put down a glass of wine.
Oh, good one.
Oh, nice. What's a design mistake people often make that you like to correct?
Oh, that's a good one. I'd probably say classically, not engaging their designer soon enough.
Very good. Very good. Oh, that was a good one. Okay, so just to wrap things up, any advice that you could offer someone, Joanne, any young women or men getting into the industry or a younger version of yourself, pieces of advice that you could offer for someone looking to get into interior design?
Yeah. I think that when we have people come to us either as new grads or work experience students, they're often envisaging where they want to be end game. And I think a lot of people underestimate the value of what you can learn from suppliers and reps. In that if you're trying to crack into the industry and trying to get that dream job, and that's hard to do because I get it, so many places want experience and it's hard. If you can link up with your local tile showroom and say, can I just shadow someone for a day just one of your interior consultants while they are working with clients selecting tiles. Can I listen to how you teach clients about those products and how you help them put things together? Ask if you can shadow trades and reps so that you can learn how things are built on site and therefore what the implications of your design intent choices are, and properly understanding materials and finishes and the right application for them. That comes so much of that from the reps and suppliers in the industry, and they are an untapped fountain of wealth of information.
So on top of that, what would be any little bit of advice if you've got a potential client listening or somebody thinking about interior design, a good approach for them to take into consideration?
It's a good wrapping up question. I think we've talked a bit about trends and how they're not necessarily the most ideal thing to inject into your home in a permanent way if you're doing it as a trend. My advice would be, don't be scared of trends though, in that sometimes people go, oh, I don't want to bring that finish or that shape or texture into my home because it is on trend. But if it's something that you've always loved, or it's a new love for you, but it just resonates with your core and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the finish I've always been after, or this is the shaped tile I've always been after, just because it's on trend doesn't matter. Because if it resonates with you down to your core, you will love it beyond the lifetime of that trend and you will be happy with it for years and years to come.
So a trend is what you find trendy.
Yeah.
Go with it.
Exactly.
Back
Own
in.
it for
Love it.
yourself. Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Anyone wanting to follow your journey or engage your services, Joanne, where can people find you?
The two easy ways, I guess, are good old Instagram, send us a DM, or go onto our website and just have a browse through there, get inspired, and then contact us through the About page there.
www.broadfeatherdesign.
No design.
Just Broadfeather?
Yeah, just
Okay,
Broadfeather.
there you go.
So yes,
Broadfeather.
www.broadfeather.com.au.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on, Joanne. Really
No problem,
appreciate
my
your
pleasure.
time. And yeah, hopefully everyone got some really valuable insights into interior design.
Thanks, Joanne.
No
Been
problem
awesome.
at all.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. That was a very interesting episode. If you want to find out more about Build Insight, head over to Instagram, build.insite. Head over to our website, www.buildinsight.com.au. There's also links on there to past podcast episodes, as well as links to our YouTube channel to keep up with things. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed the episode and we'll catch you on the next one. Let's cue the disclaimer. I need to let you know that myself and the Build Insight team are in no way, shape or form qualified to give you personal or specific business advice. We strongly encourage you seek out the use of professionals for products or when you are making personal or business decisions. Everything discussed during the Build Insight podcast is our own and the guest opinion and personal experience and is of a general nature only. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Catch you on the next one.